Did you know that that 90% of Americans don't get enough vegetables, fiber, or essential nutrients, according to a study by CDC in 2023? So, if you're struggling with low energy, brain fog, digestive issues, it might not be what you're eating, but how you're building your plate. So, before we get started, my name is Dr. Erica Steele. Welcome to my channel. I'm a board certified naturopathic doctor. I hold 7 degrees in my field, all in the natural healthcare space. I like to say that I went to school, so you don't have to. We do have tons of content this week for our intro to holistic medicine, all about nutrition. There's still time to join in. So if you want to register for this course, it's completely free. If you want to get a certificate of prerequisite at the end, there is a small fee for it. But otherwise, you can come in and drop in. It's a self-paced course. This week, we are discussing nutrition. We've moved into part 2, so all of our modalities. So let's jump in to your plate, shall we? So when we're looking at your particular plate, we're looking at having a macronutrient balance. And what does that mean? Macro meaning big. So we want to have proteins, we want to have carbohydrates, and we want to have fats. So when we start building our plate, the first thing we want to think about is our protein. So what is our protein sources? Sorry, I'm just getting over a cold. So what are our protein sources? So from highest to lowest, we have chicken breast, turkey breast, white fish, lentils, kidney beans, black beans, and then of course quinoa. And so that typically is from, your leanest, highest protein source to your lowest. And so notice also too, that lower half, I give you your plant-based sources, and then the top half, I give you more of your animal-based proteins. So that's kind of how we look at our proteins, and we choose pretty much one, more even 2 of those to when we're building our plate. Then I look at my complex carbohydrates. I choose high fiber, more alkaline, and also low glycemic. So those are going to be like your spinach. That's going to be like your broccoli. That's going to be, like your green leafy vegetables. So I know there's a lot of controversy around broccoli. And we know that 2 things can exist at the same time, right? It can be, modified in some respect, but also too, broccoli has a lot of immune system fighting potential to it, especially with the broccoli sprouts, which are used a lot in Hippocrates, which is a healing center in Florida. And so we want to add complex carbohydrates, our fibers and greens. So we want to shoot for about 25 to 30 grams of fiber daily. When I was talking about your proteins, it started off with about 30 grams of protein. A 4-ounce chicken breast has about 30 grams of protein, and then it kind of goes down from there. A cup of quinoa has probably around 8 grams of protein, so you can see it with that. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to focus on hydration, making sure we're consuming half our body weight in ounces in water every single day. Really good to add a lot of minerals to it as well, electrolytes, really to make sure that our water is more hydrating, right? And so the next thing we want to talk about is our meal timing and our blood sugar balance. We want to space our meals out adequately depending on what we're wanting to do with our food. So naturally, if I want to really balance my blood sugar, I'm going to have a meal protein specifically an hour upon waking, and then every 2 to 3 hours. Naturally, if I want to really help heal my metabolic system and tap into autophagy from fasting, I'm going to do an intermittent fast, either a 12 and 12 or a 14 and 10, whatever I feel most comfortable with. And lastly, I really want to listen to my body. So I'm going to adjust what I'm eating and what I'm doing based off of my energy levels, but also based off of my digestion. I'll notice and really pay attention to, okay, that gives me gassing, that gives me bloating. Maybe I'll add some ginger tea in between. Maybe I'll drink my, water in between my meals instead of having it in there. And then I look at my food pairing as well, that we could do a whole video on food pairing. But that is something that I consider when I'm looking at really restructuring and building my plate. So I start with my protein, then I add my complex carbs. I don't focus so much on fat. I always know fat's going to get in there, but if I focus on the fat, it'll keep it higher than what I want it to be. So I focus on my lean protein sources, whatever those may be in the day, and then I'm going to focus on my complex carbohydrates, and then inevitably there's going to be some olive oil in there, or some grapeseed oil oil or something like that. So I'm going to get my healthy fats in there, but I don't want to overload my healthy fats, especially if I want to stay lean and mean and healthy. Maybe not mean. So anyway, we really want to start with focusing on how we build a healthy plate before we get into how we build healthy meal plans, because if we don't know what we're going to have for our plate, then we're going to be pretty much, left confused. So for our plate, we can do that traditional plate. So, your protein and your veg, but you can also get creative. You can do it in a salad. You could do it in a soup. You can do it in a bowl, like something that you would have like at Chipotle or something like that, where you chop up your proteins and you chop up your veggies and that sort of thing. So those are some different options for your plate, your salad, your bowl, and even your soup. You can put tons of nutrients, especially your protein, broths and things like that. You can really add a lot of nutrition to soups as well. So hopefully that gives you ideas of how to build your plate. I'm really excited to hear about what you struggle with in building your plate so that we can resolve it moving forward into this week of Intro to Holistic Medicine.